Our opening words this morning are from Edwin Markham, who's a poet. Outwitted. He drew a circle that shut me out. Heretic, rebel, a thing to flout. But love and I had the wit to win. We drew a circle that took him in. Next, we have a prelude / meditation from Ali Halpert, and I hope you enjoy it.
Listen, baby, you don't have to carry the weight of the world in your muscles and bones. Let go, let go, let go. Listen, baby, you don't have to carry the weight of the world in your muscles and bones. Let go, let go, let go. Holy breath and holy name, will you ease this pain? Holy breath and holy name, will you ease this pain? Loosen, baby, and you don't have to carry the
We can't hear it when you mute, Laura.
baby, and you don't have to carry the weight of the world in your muscles and bones. You ease let go. Loosen, baby, and you don't have to carry the weight of the world in your muscles and bones. You ease let go. Loosen, baby, and you don't have to carry the weight of the world in your muscles and bones. You ease let go. Loosen, baby, and you don't have to carry the weight of the world in your muscles and bones. You ease let go. The weight of the world in your muscles and bones. You ease let go. The weight of the world in your muscles and bones. You ease let go. The weight of the world in your muscles and bones. You go, let go, let go.
Our prelude, that song was written in 2020 by Ali Halpert. She writes that she is a queer Ashkenazi Jewish young adult musician, writer, educator, activist, organizer, living in Schaghticoke Land in Millerton, New York, United States. She's a singer, pianist, drummer, and guitar player. Ali writes songs for building community, working for collective liberation, and visioning a different world. Check out the chat. You can support Ali Halpert's work at Patreon. Welcome. My name is Maria Bavier, and I'm the Children, Youth, and Family Ministry Director at MVUUF. We are so glad you are here, gathered with us during this time online. Whether you're here on Zoom now, or YouTube later, this hour is dedicated to celebrating the experiences that Camp UniStar on a gorgeous northern Minnesota island has to offer UUs of all ages. Come seeking beauty and renewal. Come seeking new experiences and friends. Welcome. If you are visiting, we invite you to fill out our visitor form. It's a good way to learn more about MVUUF and sign up for our Friday newsletter. You can find a link for that in the chat. Also, before we get too far, I want to talk about a few announcements of things we have going on. Next Sunday, we'll begin our hybrid services. So you can come here in person, where I would love to see your faces, or you can continue to meet on Zoom or YouTube. Children and youth programming will be all ages in the lower level gathered so that we have all ages together until we have more people coming so that we could split into classrooms. What can you do to help? Oh, thank you for asking. We need your help. If you're planning to come in person, please consider signing up to bring treats, to be an usher or greeter. You can also find more information on that Sign Up Genius. Another announcement is that we have community meals coming up on March 6th from 3:30 to 6 p.m. in Minneapolis. We would love to have you come join us. We need 6 people to come and help pack meals, and it would be a great opportunity for youth. Our youth coordinator, Gabe, put that together for us. Lastly, unless anyone else has, oh wait, sorry, more announcements. Mystery Friends is intergenerational pen pals, and that will meet, everybody will meet each other on April 10th. But before that, you send each other letters back and forth to try to figure out who your mystery friend is. And the link is there to sign up. Please sign up today. We need more adults and we need more children and youth to continue that tradition that's been going on for a long time here at the fellowship. The service auction is coming up. Please fill out your form by February 28th. And then the auction will be on March 20th. And Gabe is making a woodwork project, and I'm making a cool, like, child-friendly hot pad style art. Check your Friday email for all of these links too, and I encourage you to read to the end. Our office manager, Jeannie, is really great about the Friday email. Friday, March 18th at 7 p.m., the MVUF Racial Justice Committee is sponsoring an online screening of the film Remembering Singing Water. The film was locally produced by One Voice Mixed Chorus. Through story and song, the film explores Minnesota as a place of both home and exile for Indigenous people, LGBTQ people, and immigrants. Interconnected stories are brought to life through music, spoken word, animation, dance, and life-size puppets. No charge, but please register and send any questions to Tom Ellinger at gmail.com, which we can put that email in the chat too. So thank you for listening to those announcements. We have a lot going on, who knew, in the middle of winter. Before we light our chalice, I want to talk about how our chalice is a symbol. A symbol is something that stands for something else. Can you think of any other symbols? I'm thinking of, like, a heart stands for love. You could maybe type something in the chat if you think of another symbol. Another symbol is like a dove, could stand for peace. So the flaming chalice is a symbol of liberal religion. It was designed during World War II by a musician and artist from Austria named Hans Deutsch. During the war, he became a refugee, meaning he had to leave his home. While he was a refugee, he received food, clothing, and medical supplies from the Unitarian Service Committee, and that was before the Unitarians and Universalists joined together. The symbol Hans Deutsch created of the chalice, which you can see something similar there, was painted on trucks, buildings, boxes. Everyone in Europe, regardless of what language they spoke, saw that symbol and knew that it meant that they could get help. Then and now, it symbolizes caring and hope. So this month, our theme is widening the circle of concern. And the story of the chalice is a symbol of how we widen our circle of concern to include refugees. Think about other ways we could widen the circle as we say today's words for lighting the chalice. Please join with me, reading those words in your chat. Come into the circle of kindness. Come into our circle of peace. Come into our circle of friendship. Come be part of our circle of love, for we have made it wide enough for all. I will light our chalice too and here, and you can light yours at home. And today we have special music by Gabe Vigliaturo. He's playing Rain Dance for marimba, written by Alicia Gomez, and he's performing it right there on his marimba. I will see you in a minute.
One moment as I walk over.
Mute, but not the picture. Switch camera to everybody and you'll see.
Thank you so much, Gabe. Wow, live on Zoom. Thank you. Each week, we take some time to share joys and sorrows. This is our way of showing each other support and remembering that we're a fellowship community. Please take a moment to share a joy or concern in the chat, or we can take turns unmuting. If you can figure out how to raise your hand, we can do it that way too, either physically or on the computer. The first joy I want to share is so much thanks for Gabe's marimba and special music with the rain dance song. My second concern is I would like to start by lighting a candle for the people of Eastern Ukraine who are being evacuated from their homes as tensions with Moscow build. Also, as you're still thinking, I just want to I want to invite Carla's family. Do you want to unmute?
Yep, should be unmuted now. Just a joy for me. My brother and his wife arrived safely in Quito, Ecuador for their second tour as part of the State Department. So they'll be down there for 2 years, but they seem to be settling in good, still waiting on all of their household goods to show up. But apparently they'll sit in Amsterdam until they actually arrive and have some place to take them to.
I have both a joy and a concern. My joy is that for the first time in 2 years, we got to run an in-person book fair at Oak Grove Elementary, and it went spectacularly. People showed up and bought tons of books, so we have lots to give back to the media center and books to give to kids. So that was spectacular. My sorrow is if you could please keep my extended family in your hearts. My uncle, who lives in Venezuela, my mother's sister's husband, passed away Friday afternoon from a long, debilitating illness. And only one of his children can go down to help out his mom. So it's going to be a rough time for everybody, but at least he's at peace now. So.
Thank you. We very much hold them in our thoughts and our hearts today. Tom? Oh, I can read it too. Tom Ellinger writes, a joy that our second child, Peter, will be doing his psych internship next year at Minnesota VA. He'll miss Oregon, but it will be nice having him closer. That's great, Tom. Thank you. Any other joys or concerns that you all have to share? You can unmute or write in the chat. I just wanted to lift up a moment of how we're getting close to the end of the second full year since this pandemic hit our fellowship, and just want to recognize that that's hard. And we've been doing a great job being flexible, but let's take a moment. So we want to hold the joys and sorrows that we haven't said in our hearts, and we have a musical response here that you can see on the video. I can't wait till we're in person and we can sing and everything. And I remember how this room sounded when we all lifted our voices together. Today, we are celebrating Camp UniStar, which is a camp for Unitarian Universalists, friends, and family of all ages. Minnesota Valley Unitarian Universalist Fellowship here is also a community for all ages, here on the Zoom as we gather and here this building. Your generous donations to MVUUF help pay for everything we need to create a welcoming place for children, youth, families, and members of all ages. Here to tell us why he gives is Tom Schoenbauer. One thing I like about Tom's video, he created it last year and was talking about how much he appreciates the religious education programming that MVUF has provided over the years. We'll see if we can get that video going.
I don't think I can get it going. For some reason, it's not working.
No worries. Our tech extraordinaire is out of town and we have Reverend Laura filling in with doing an excellent job, but not always tech works. Tech doesn't always work. So I invite you to take a moment here as we move toward our offering space and take a moment to click on that button that you see in your chat and give to the fellowship, even though we're not passing a basket in person. Thank you for your generosity. And thank you, Reverend Laura, for putting together that video. Next, I would like to introduce Gabe. He is our youth coordinator and he's been my friend since I met him up at Camp UniStar 3 summers ago, after a presentation very similar to this one.
Thanks for that, Maria. Give me one moment. I need to be able to share my screen real quick. It access is disabled. One of you guys could enable that for me.
It's coming. You can try again.
Perfect. There we go. Let me just make sure we are on the right slide, and my mouse is on the right side. That is the wrong slide. Spoilers. All right. Just have to get my screens in order. All right. How far does this microphone reach? Perfect. There we go. All right. Now, I want you all to imagine a place where you can disconnect and recharge from the hustle and bustle of your normal life. You have the whole time to create your own experience with 3 hot meals cooked fresh that day. Even better, a camp that was founded by UUs for UUs. A place where families can come together, bringing generations together in one place of joy, where there is no Wi-Fi, simply connecting with each other in the natural beauty of northern Minnesota. Well, I'm here to tell you this place exists. In fact, it's called Camp UniStar. Too far. All right, today I'll be talking to you about UniStar, and to take you on this journey, I'll be using the 3 visions of Camp UniStar that I'll talk about next. Now first, let me tell you a bit about myself. I started attending UniStar at age 11 and attended nearly every year before I started working there in 2019, and fell even further in love with the island. In fact, I joined the management committee in 2020, once camp was announced to be canceled in 2020, so I could contribute more to the place I love so dearly. For me, camp is a place where I'm free to express myself and help others find a relaxing week and find inspiration in the natural beauty of the island and the continued work of the Camp UniStar Foundation to make our camp and world a better place. Every year, our community grows stronger, and I would love for you to all to join and experience the joy for yourselves. After a brief history, I'll first be talking about our first value, cherishing the island, which is our community's commitment to protecting and experiencing the island. This means providing a means to get out in nature and encouraging campers to treat the island with respect. Third, we have belonging at camp, which means providing a space for all at UniStar and providing multiple types of programs and offerings to help build our camp community. Finally, I'll be talking about inspiring action in the world, which is UniStar's commitment to give back to their community and more, as well as encourage campers to become more aware of present issues and means to take action. I'm happy to answer any and all questions you may have during the social hour at the end. I will be checking the chat during the social hour too, so if you have any questions that arrive during the presentation, feel free to type them before you forget. Let's begin with the history of the island. Now, long ago, there was an Ojibwe settlement at O'Neill's Point, where that little orange star is. Pottery shards there date back to up to 5,000 years ago. This settlement was of particular interest of a man named Henry Schoolcraft, who was looking for the source of the Mississippi, and a Native American agreed to show him in 1823. Now, upon government intervention, the land was partly made into the Chippewa National Forest and eventually was sold to the Anderson family in 1923. If you are interested, sorry about that. If you are interested in learning more details, then I invite you to listen to the podcast Where the Red Cedar Grows, a podcast about the history of camp. Now, Camp UniStar did create a land acknowledgement statement in 2019, which I'll read for you here. We, the Camp UniStar community, acknowledge that the Star Island is part of the reservation of the Leech Lake Band of Ojibwe and the traditional territory of Native people whose presence are imbued in its islands, waters, and woods. May we nurture this relationship with our indigenous neighbors. Now, this Anderson family in 1923 that took over was ruled by the matriarch of the family, which you can see on the right with the croquet mallet. Her name was Berdine Anderson, and she wanted a summer refuge for her family, which at the time was in Texas and also owned the largest cotton brokerage in the country at the time. They also owned 5 cabins on the camp property. It is important to note here that during this time, one of the sons developed pancreatic cancer and went to Mayo Clinic and was miraculously put into remission for 13 years, which was the work of Dr. O.T. Claggett. Keep that name in mind. In 1954, the Andersons unknowingly had their last summer on the island. Unfortunately, the cancer came back and the family decided to sell the land. As no one would pay the steep price of $27,000 at the time, they looked for a church community to donate it to. Now, Dr. Cleggett's wife, who is the doctor who cured the son, or who put the son in remission, talked to Berdine Anderson herself and was talking about her vision of a retreat for Unitarians where they could connect with nature and each other. Berdine was touched by this, and as a result, the land was transferred to the Unitarians. Now, it's important to note here, too, there was a banker who was quite unhappy with this transfer and really dragged out this process, making it take about 6 years to transfer the land. This was because he was part of the other denomination that was trying to get the land, the Lutherans. But finally, in 1960, the Universalist Association in Chicago took over, since Unitarian Universalism was about to be formed at the time. Camp was set to open in 1961, but it needed tons of work. Like I said, they abandoned it in 1954, and it had just been left dormant for that time, meaning that they left their mattresses, their furniture, and I'm sure you can imagine what happened over 7 years to all that stuff. It was essentially just dust left over. Now, Camp UniStar didn't have any official staff. They had no money. They were just starting. But luckily what they did have was a dedicated group of volunteers led by Dr. O.T. and Alicia Claggett, who you can see in the picture here, the people who secured camp. They were able to rally an ensemble of volunteers to come up weekend after weekend, hauling off these decayed mattresses, the old furniture, repairing the cabins, and with their hard work, they were able to get the camp running for its first summer in 1961. Camp has enjoyed many updates since then, such as the building of the workshop, a kitchen update, and even just this summer, a brand new dock. Now, fast forward to 2015, which the Camp UniStar Foundation is created to own a camp. This is still a nonprofit, volunteer-run camp. It has about an annual operating budget of $300,000. We only pay a seasonal staff, which manage day-to-day operations. Then the rest is run by volunteers. There's the management committee, which manages medium-term strategy, and then a long-term strategic planning is done by the Camp UniStar board. This camp, still rustic, still no Wi-Fi for camper use though. Moving on, let's talk about our first value, cherishing the island. So, first, here's the same bird's eye view of the island. This time, I've circled where Camp UniStar is in the red. Now you can see Lake Wendigo right in that center there, making it look a bit like a star-shaped donut. Cass Lake is absolutely massive, and you can also see some of the other islands, like Cedar Island to the bottom right there. You can see it's almost even connected by a land bridge, which you can actually walk across. And keep in mind Cedar Island, and note how big of the distance is between them. I'll be talking about that a little bit later. Now, luckily, this is only about 3.5, 4 hours from the cities, so light pollution is very limited, with only a little light in the distance from Bemidji, but the stars are extremely clear. Commonly, a telescope is brought out to view the planets if they are in the right location, as well as meteor showers throughout the summer. This means you can truly wish upon a star at UniStar. Now, looking at the island, I want to highlight just how diverse the ecosystems are. Here are 3 pictures, and they're all from the same island. In the center there, you can see the towering pine forest on the west side of the island. Now, in order to get there, you'll be walking through a forest with plentiful plants. And if you're lucky in July, you might even be able to snag some wild blueberries and raspberries. There's also a prairie ecosystem on the island called the Power Line Trail, since there used to be an above power line. It has since been buried, so there's no power line obstructing it. And you can see on the right there the prairie ecosystem. This path takes you directly to Lake Wendigo. Now, Wendigo is at the very center of the island, and you can see on the left there what the shoreline looks like. It's much warmer than Cass Lake, so maybe if you want to, you can take a dip in both, since there's a very short little portage, so you can just walk across. Commonly, people also kayak or canoe in both, carrying them across. But be warned, Wendigo is an old Ojibwe word that means that's a monstrous creature of legend. Now, if you decide you want to just take a walk along the beach, luckily there's the south side of the island too, which is very different from the rest. There's towering, huge cabins, and even a paved sidewalk to walk along. And if you're lucky, you might even be greeted by a friendly dog. Now, don't worry, beyond dogs, there's much more wildlife to the island. From the plentiful eagles and eagle nests you can see on the left, to the rampant chipmunks that essentially run the camp. There's so much to see on the island. The variety of birds is astounding, and loons are essentially as common as mallard ducks out there. In fact, if you're interested in birds, there's a week all about birds at the very beginning of the summer. I've even heard of a camper seeing an eagle swimming while they were sailing. So if you're lucky, you might be able to see that. You never know what you're going to find at UniStar. Now also, if you like fishing, well, I've got good news for you. Wendigo has fantastic fishing opportunities. As you can see on the right there, he was not only able to catch a bass, but also the infamous walleye. Additionally, as you can see in the middle, you never know what you're going to find. This was found while someone was paddleboarding at UniStar, in which, as you can see, a northern pike bit off a bit more than they can chew, and both the fish wound up passing away. Once again, you never know what you're going to find. I once found a musky head in the middle of a trail. How did it get there? Good question. But I'll never forget that it was this big around. But now, if you're looking for just a short hike, UniStar can offer that as well with a little hike over to Sunset Rock, which gives some of the finest sunsets. I know a couple that met there working at camp in the 1970s, and still every day they're on that island. They walk to Sunset Rock and watch the sunset together. On the right there, you can see a view of sunset from Sunset Rock, but maybe if you don't want to walk all that way, you can also have beautiful sunsets, as you can see on the left, from our own dock. Now, talking about our own dock, you can enjoy the lake from our brand new dock. Now, we have a nice swim area that's roped off with a nice shallow area in the beginning, and luckily also rafts so kids can play on them if they want to go swimming. We do have daily lifeguarding hours during family weeks, and the waterfront is open all day outside of that as well if you want to take a dip outside of that. Now, beyond swimming, there are plenty of watercrafts for camper use. We have canoes, kayaks, paddleboards, windsurfers, and of course, sailboats. Well, we have a flag system to show different wind conditions. Feel free to try out sailing on a calm day. In fact, I worked there in 2019. I never tried sailing. But last year, 2021, it was my goal to learn how to sail. So on a calm day, I went out, tried sailing. Did I tip over many times? Yes. Did I have fun? Oh, definitely. Did I eventually learn how to sail by the end of the summer? Yes. In fact, I'd suggest going up to the lodge, reading a book on it, and just going out there and trying it for yourself. It's really something you got to learn by doing. Now, additionally, we also have other things on the waterfront, such as we have a nice little beach area for kids to play in, make sand castles, maybe just get their toes in the water. But maybe you just want to take a relaxing nap by the waterfront. Luckily, we have a nice hammock city. As you can see, there are a bunch of posts where you can hang your hammocks and either take a nap with the island breeze, read, whatever you prefer to do, maybe take a phone call. We also have a volleyball and tetherball court. Now, the volleyball court, I'd like to specifically highlight. Every single week, there is staff versus campers volleyball, and as you can see in our moo costumes, we are quite the intimidating bunch. I'd like to see you all try your best against me and my staff crew this summer. And finally, we have plenty of challenges for more advanced swimmers, kayakers, canoers, and sailors. As you can see on that picture, there's plaques littering the dining hall with various types of camper-made challenges. So, for example, there's the horseshoe tournament that happens quite frequently. Some people like to sail around the island. Some people canoe around the island or kayak around the island. There's plaques there so you can put your name down. These are all completely optional. It's just a challenge if you're looking for one. But I want to highlight one of specific importance to our congregation, the Cedar Island Swim. Now, once again, remember how I highlighted that one Cedar Island? Now, imagine canoeing all the way there and then getting in the water and swimming all the way back. Well, luckily for you, Maria's done it before, and she can tell you about it. Now, I have no ability to do that, but I am able to paddle. So, Linda and I were able to be on Team Anya, as you can see on the right there, our swimmers ready to go in the water, and support her along the way. And boy, did we have the time of a lifetime. We had so much fun chatting along the way, and it was really fun being able to just drop little M&Ms in Anya's mouth like a little baby bird. Now, let's get to some of the different programming at camp. Now, at camp, there are a multitude of programs that campers can attend. Different weeks have different topics. Topics range year to year, but this summer specifically, there's themes of bread making, all about birds, the island ecology and ecosystems, as well as a yoga week, half week at the end of the summer. Now, these adults programs happen for 2 hours before lunch during the children's program that I'll get to next. You are not required to attend the program, and you can stay for as long or as short as you like. After lunch, campers may plan program, but the day is yours to enjoy. Go hiking, sailing, do yoga on the dock, go swimming with the family. The choice is yours. It's a do-it-yourself camp. Moving on to the children's program. This takes place during the adult program. The children's program is for ages 3 to 11, where we plan fun activities like swimming, a nature hike, pretzels and tie-dyes, and my personal favorite, a trip to Cedar Island where we make sand volcanoes. And we get to put the baking soda and vinegar and even maybe a little food coloring to make some blue lava shoot out of our own sand volcanoes. Now, kids after the program tend to play together under the careful watch of parents, with luckily many parents taking turns keeping an eye on the kids. Now, for youth ages 12 to 18, there's also programming. While I'll be talking about Youth Week later on, this is the programming during family weeks. This is where I fell in love with UniStar. Having the chance to meet fellow youth while still having the comfort of my family there was such an empowering experience for me. There's different types of programming every day, with the times varying. Bonfires, hikes, canoe races, capture the flag. The youth actually get to, at the beginning of the week, have a meeting and get to plan out what they want to do for that week. My personal favorite was the youth campout, where we'd either hike over to another side of the island or maybe, if we're lucky, take a boat ride over. And then we get to stay the night telling scary stories and wake up and cook breakfast over the fire together. Now, as you can see there, I actually have a picture of when I was a youth. I'm not in the picture myself, but there is proof that I was there. I was infamous for drinking many San Pellegrinos, and 2 of my cans are in this picture. In fact, not shown in this picture also, the knees are, is my current roommate. Finally, camp also provides a full meal service offering 3 meals a day. Luckily, I've been kitchen staff since 2019 and will be making sure you get to enjoy delicious and nutritious meals. Traditional UniStar meals include oatmeal sundaes, beef stroganoff, pork loin herb roasted potatoes, and my personal specialty, the famous handmade cinnamon rolls, which I mastered last summer. You can see a picture of me on the right serving them. Additionally, we offer gluten-free, dairy-free, vegetarian, vegan, and allergy accommodations, which can be indicated when you register. We also offer kids options with some of our more exotic meals, like the Thai curry shown to the left. Now, I just want to highlight real quick on the top right picture, that is a brand new mural to this summer. Some of you who came up this summer may not have even seen it. My roommate, Tevka Lackman, is a painter, and she hand-painted that over several weeks of the summer. And it's really something you have to see and experience yourself. I only have half the picture up there. Now, beyond Family Weeks, UniStar has 2 other offerings. The first being Helping Hands Week, in which a discounted rate is given during the beginning of the season. There's no morning programming. Rather than that, a wide range of programs from screen repair, electrical, and even carpentry. This is a great way to grow your skills and learn more about how to use tools. And even youth are encouraged to participate since there will be supervision. I want to highlight here, one of my friends would actually bring up her kids every single week. And because of that, now they're extremely handy, and any problem on hand, they know how to fix since they came up to UniStar Work Week growing up. As a woodworker, I find myself amazed by the different things I can learn. There was a carpenter that came up last summer that taught me so much about lumber that helped ignite my passion for woodworking I have today. Finally, there are 2 youth weeks for youth who are starting grades 8 through 12. So this is important to distinct. They are going into 8th through 12th grade. Now, there's daily programming for youth. They have the whole day scheduled for them, essentially. Some of the activities are capture the flag, swimming, art projects, and even some work projects for them to complete as a team and grow closer together through the shared hardship of having to sand a bench. Now, the seniors have a really unique experience where they tend to create some type of lasting project that will impact camp. Examples done in the past are swings for some of the cabins. One year they made a table for a gazebo, and they also have made hangers for all the cabins for you to dry out your swimsuits on. This is a week I never attended, but it is quite honestly one of my few regrets in life that I didn't. My roommate Tevka went every single week. She's still best friends with most of her youth weekers. In fact, another one of my friends currently is living with one of his youth week friends since they've stayed friends for this long. Now, it's important to note here, registration is different for Youth Week, where it opens on March 6th and it ends around May. Finally, I want to talk about the last of UniStar's values, inspiring action in the world. As a Unitarian Universalist camp, we strive to make the world and our community a better place. Two specific areas I want to highlight are environmental and social justice. For environmental justice, Camp UniStar has started to evaluate methods to reduce our carbon footprint. This includes having local foods initiative, in which we source some of our foods from local farms around Cass Lake and feature seasonal vegetables from the farmer's market. As you can see that picture to the right, once again, my roommate Tevka painted all those paintings representing the different farms we source from so we can highlight to the campers just how many places we source from, and also maybe you can get your own food from there. Further, we provide programming based on environmental issues, such as sustainability and the rise of electric vehicles. We specifically have a program based on the ecology and ecosystem of Camp UniStar if you're interested in learning a bit more about sustainability around the Cass Lake area. Actually, sometimes campers lead their own talks as well. For example, one week I was there last summer, there was a talk on compostable toilets that really ignited a lot of fire in campers where they'd come and talk to me for like 30 minutes about compostable toilets throughout the week. Once again, you never know what you're going to hear at UniStar. Now, when it comes to social justice, camp has a multitude of impacts on the camp and greater Cass Lake community. In 2019, we had the Leech Lake Band of Ojibwe tribal attorney Frank Bebo come and talk to the camp weekly, and one week he even brought Winona LeDuc. I got the chance to meet her while serving lunch, and I can't even express words for how that felt being able to see her in person. I was so surprised. We have made such a great effort to support the Leech Lake Band of Ojibwe, such as donating to the Leech Lake Tribal College, the Boys and Girls Club of Leech Lake, and Early Childhood Development Program. Now, supporting Teal's Market is a new initiative in which the tribe just purchased in 2021. We also have been bringing awareness to Line 3 movement to the community, with 2021 having weekly presentations and discussion followed by writing letters to government officials concerning Line 3. As for our own community, we are seeking to improve our culture as well as becoming more welcoming and inclusive to all kinds of people. This is monitored by the Culture and Consent Committee, which serves to help reinforce our values of camp diversity and inclusion. This means an emphasis on affirmative consent in all areas, from asking before taking pictures to asking before giving someone a hug. Now, I'm sure you all are asking, what's next? Now, first step, if you're looking at Family Weeks or Helping Hand Weeks, you can see all the program information online, the different weeks, and luckily, just starting last year, registration has moved completely online. Now, the priority deadline is March 20th. But you can still register from then, but it'll be limited availability based on what weeks are still available. Now, COVID restrictions are still up in the air. Keep tuned for things. We have a registered nurse currently working on making the restrictions. We had some restrictions last year as well that she helped develop, so I'm very confident she'll be able to do so. Now, I just want to highlight our congregation has a very special connection to Camp UniStar. As you can see here, here's a few of our people in our congregation. Laura was the food service director in 2017. Glenn was on the management committee for quite some time. Linda, like I said, came up. In fact, Linda, there's a bench called Cabin 6, which is dedicated to Linda's daughter and has a nice little plaque on it about her. Like I said, Linda and I paddled for the Cedar Island swim together. But we do have a Cedar Island swimmer here. As you can see, I have photographic evidence of Maria doing the Cedar Island swim, as well as Eric supporting her on the paddling team. And once again, I just want to highlight that we have a special connection to UniStar, especially since we are the only congregation to have a scholarship fund. No other congregation has a scholarship fund except for ours. And new to this year, we are now offering scholarships for Family Weeks as well. Now, Helping Hands Week and Youth Weeks do get a 50% scholarship, and Family Weeks get a 1/3 scholarship. Now, we'll have the link to apply for these scholarships online in a Google form, which will be posted on the website and sent out in the Friday email. Awards will be announced once the week allotments are announced, and it will be, once you pay your deposit, it'll then be applied to your total remaining amount. And now, I can't wait to see you all on the island. Here's a picture of me, my very first summer on the island. As you can see, rocking all blue, not even being part of the Happy Trails song at the end. But on the right, we have another first-time camper who fell in love with the island. Now, as you can see, this is Candace, her daughter, and her grandchild. And I want to end this presentation with one of the stories that keeps me coming back to camp year after year. Now, one time I was sitting on the dock with Courtney, Candace's grandchild, with a few other staff members, and 2 people were swimming in the lake, 2 other staff members. And we were looking out there, and Courtney comes over and she whispers in my ear, tapping me on the shoulder, and she goes, "Oh, look at the mermaids." And since then, I haven't been able to stop thinking about that moment, and every time I think, it just fills me with love about the type of joy Camp UniStar can bring to people. Thank you guys very much.
Thank you for that presentation, Gabe. Much appreciated. Lots of applause, I'm sure. Thank you. Our closing words today come from a activity book that was recommended to me by our music director, Nicole, who knows the author. So this book has a bit of it, words from an Ojibwe woman who has something to say that I think is really meaningful. And the Ojibwe people were on the land that was Camp UniStar, before Camp UniStar was Camp UniStar. So this is a book written by Colleen Watterson to inspire children's curiosity and conversation about culture. So Kathy Denman Wilkes' father was a member of the Ojibwe Indian, of the Saginaw Chippewa Indian tribe, and she's a descendant of that tribe. This tribe is also referred to as the Ojibwe. Kathy says that the American Indian culture places a high value on relationships, not only with family and friends, but also with animals and the earth. She wants to teach her own children and others that it is important to see how connected we are and to recognize how we can work together and benefit from one another. I can show you a picture of like just from this book too. Before we do our chalice extinguishing, you can join me in those words. Just a minute. This is kind of the picture of the activity book. And then it has more things that I would love to print out and share with you too. So please join me in these extinguishing words. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. Also, as a closing, I have a poem by Wendell Berry titled "The Peace of Wild Things." When despair for the world grows in me and I wake in the night at the least sound in fear of what my life and my children's lives may be, I go and lie down where the wood drake rests in his beauty on the water, and the great heron feeds. I come into the peace of wild things who do not tax their lives with forethought of grief. I come into the presence of still water, and I feel above me the day-blind stars waiting with their light. For a time, I rest in the grace of the world and am free.